We have an awesome day planned for you guys. We're going to see Greg, one of my favorite students, just because he's so driven, and he's not afraid of adversity. He entered Airbnb at the hardest point, right in the thick of COVID. He just didn't have fear. He took the plunge, and today we're going to see how he's doing. So just hanging out with Greg. We're here to see one of his properties.
It's a beautiful place. You want to see it?
Yeah, I'd love to see it. This property itself is super cool. If you guys know who Machine Gun Kelly is, this used to be his old villa, and we're inside his studio where he makes all his music.
Yeah, this is the one. This is where he made all his famous songs. Yeah, it's a huge place. I think it's 4,400 square feet. It's super quiet. This whole neighborhood, this street, Valley Vista, is like so quiet.
For those of you who are new, quiet is a double-edged sword, right? It's good and it's bad because when your guests makes even a little bit of noise, it feels like a lot of noise. Bribe your neighbors all the time because they can be your best friend or your worst enemy, right, when it comes to Airbnb. And it's much easier to have a friend on your side than to deal with an enemy.
So this is actually my first house, and this one is for December, which is technically low season. But as you can see, even in low season for that house, we were booked almost the whole month, which is pretty crazy. We only had 4 days that we were open. The rest we were booked, and you can see the numbers: 6,200, 3,400, 3,800, 4,000, 3,900. So this month,
How much was your rent again?
8,100.
So you made $15,000 of profit with this property in 1 month.
Yeah, like I'll have to cost a little less, but it was definitely like a lot. And this is, you gotta think, this is low season. Up until May here, we only had 2 properties.
Oh, really?
So we opened our 3rd property here.
In May, okay.
Yep. Then we got that management deal here. That's the 4th property, and we opened the 5th one in October and the 6th one end of December.
Oh, so you were running.
So these numbers are going to be double at least.
At least this year.
So this was really like just the past year, and you can see it just going up. Even here, going into low season, still going up. So you can imagine that these months are going to be up here somewhere.
I think within the next 2 months, you're going to break 6 figures.
Yeah, I think so for
in
sure.
1 month.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to definitely be past 6 figures.
that is awesome.
Especially summer, it should be crazy.
Oh yeah. I think some you're going to hit into 200K range.
Yeah,
Easy.
I think so.
With the same set of properties.
Yeah, and I can still optimize some things like here.
Yeah, there's a few things, but we can work on that.
But it looks great,
It does look great.
It's great.
2 6s.
So we have 5 properties that are mine. Mm-hmm. So the rent there total, and it's going to sound really high.
It's going to be crazy.
It's around 45,000. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a big number.
It is.
But net-wise, we probably net on average 30-40 grand on average a month at this point. Taking into account low season and high season, just averaging it out. My best house has had regular months where I profit 10K. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's my best performing house. That one does amazing.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's just beautiful. I remember meeting you, and we were looking at all kinds of area. We spent a lot of time talking about torrents.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't do that. Because I love this area now. It's so easy because it's close to me.
Exactly.
So if there is something, it's so easy to take care of.
After going through this property for the first time, I can see the earning potential of the property, and I can see the challenges that Greg might have when it comes to running this property. There are a lot of empty spaces, which needs to be filled up. When you have an empty space, someone's going to comment on it. Eventually, they're going to leave you a review on it, and they might ding you on value. That, in the long run, would set you further back. What was your greatest fear going into this?
I think the biggest fear was like, okay, I start this, and this area is pretty expensive, and then I have this high bill, and if it doesn't do well, then it's gonna be tough to get out. In that way, it helped a lot being able to talk to you and just kind of, I feel like a lot of ways just ease my fears, and then just like make the decision. Because I don't know if I would have pulled the trigger as quickly as I did otherwise.
I genuinely have to say you are a very brave individual, and I have to applaud you for that. It's not easy to do what you did, even with the numbers in front of you, because that's a huge risk. Before Airbnb, I was always struggling with what do I do? How do I make a ton of money? I'm always thinking like I ran a mortgage company. That's hard work.
Yeah.
What would you say the hardest thing about this is?
Oh, I mean, this is in a way. In the beginning, I will say it was hard. The very beginning, because you're doing everything by yourself usually in the very beginning. So you're learning and there's nerves because it's something new and you're not sure about everything, how everything works. So in the beginning, it was probably a little bit more hard work in the sense that you're just a little stressed. So after that, it's been pretty chill, honestly, because now I have a whole team. My brother and his wife are involved now too. So me personally, I'm barely doing any work anymore. Like I'm probably doing like, I don't know, half an hour work a week at this point, just because my brother and his wife like manage the assistants now too. So we have sort of good systems now, so I'm barely working on this anymore. The only things that I'm still involved with is like finding the new property, and then like coordinating and supervising how it gets furnished, because that's super important.
That is. You're making all the executive decision to propel your company forward. You don't have to do any of the daily tasks.
Yeah, it's great.
Beautiful. All the success that you have, you definitely deserve it.
Yeah, and look, I appreciate you a lot too, because you're still open to like questions that I have. Year and a half in at this point, so it's nice that there wasn't any like okay, you have until this time to ask questions and no more questions after that.
No,
like I can still ask you questions. I can still, if I'm kind of fearful about like a property where I'm like unsure, I can still message you the property and see what you think.
Personally, I feel that we have this like hidden connection already because we've both been there, we've experienced it, you know, and it's a good feeling. And for me, that feeling and that a camaraderie and doing it together is what I like. You know,
and that's really nice. It also feels like less lonely in the sense that like when you're dealing with any problem that come up, you're like, oh, someone else has already dealt with this, so it feels like less of a big deal. You're like, oh, okay, no important business.
Dude, Greg, thank you so much for inviting me into your house and showing us your beautiful property and the progress that you've made. It's incredible to see. And if you're watching this, you get inspired because, you know, Greg started from the absolute worst time possible to get into Airbnb and made it happen.